Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to catandbeats. Welcome to a quick little review and also an attempt to remake the plugin. And this plugin is called IHNY-2. Now, I've already remade the plugin within Ableton, so let's just first listen to that part and check out the iHeartNY thing as well. So this is the version after. This is the iHeartNY. This is without. So yeah, the reason I remake the plugin while reviewing it is because when you remake a plugin, or at least the concept of it, or at least try to, you learn a lot of awesome mixing concepts. And that's also kind of what this video is about. I definitely recommend picking up a copy of I Heart New York #2. It's super easy to set up. It, shows up to work, does its job, no problem. But if you want, you can also just watch the entire video and then make this yourself. Or if you're a patron, you can just download this little device. I'm going to be making a devices thing, and then you just have a bunch of devices like the Boots and Cats, which is the LFO tool equivalent thing, or Four to the Floor, Spacemaker, which is the track spacer thing, and now this New York compression thing, which is basically New York compression. Anyway, enjoy the little review and enjoy how I've put it together. And just so you know, I've put an utter nutter button butter utter nutter butter in there as well, which is a surprise button, and only the Patreons will know what that is. Pew 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 pew. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Cat and Beats, and welcome to another little plugin review. This time it's about I Heart New York from BabyAudio. And what I like to do in these videos is, go over the parameters, see if it's easy to use, because for me personally, a plugin needs to do what it says on the tin and also should make it easier than something you can make yourself. Now, that's how I think a plugin is worth it and or not. This plugin is nice, it's easy, it does what it says on the tin. So therefore, I think it's already worth it in one go. Anyway, let's just go through it. Basically, it's a parallel compressor, and you use parallel compression to make things sound extra thick, extra body. Pretty standard thing to do. In Ableton, it's also in the compressors settings in one go. You have a dry wet setting over here, which is basically also parallel compression. But more on that later, because we're going to actually try to recreate this plugin to the best of our abilities and see if I Heart New York sounds as good as what we can make in Ableton. Probably yes, probably not. I don't know. Let's see. Anyway, let's just go through this little plugin first. It's pretty simple. If you go down here, left bottom or just bottom here, you will get absolutely no compression. This is what we have now. And then the further I put this little ball up, so the more compression will happen. So you get that like extra breathing effect going on, which is really nice to have. I like really aggressive compressors. Now you have the tweak section, and here's something that already happened in one go to make it sound better. There's a little smiley face EQ, which is kind of funny to have. They say that this does the emphasis, the high and low end of the signal. So for this is just the compressor by itself, and that's an extreme smiley face. That always sounds good. Then we have some attack and release settings, ratios, which I'll do 20:1 because why would you not? Then we have punch settings. So it puts more emphasis on the attack. So basically see that as linear mode versus like logarithmic mode. Wait, so you have peak mode versus RMS mode. That's kind of what this does. But then instead of being a button, it's going to be sliding. All right. Then we have harmonics. That's actually pretty cool. This doesn't work anymore. This now actually broke. That's hilarious. It broke. The whole plugin broke. Okay, great. Fuck it, I'm leaving it in. And then we have a tilt shift EQ, and we have a internal sidechain. You can basically do that with this as well, but you can't do both. So in my book, it's already a lot easier because everything's just in one thing. Now, instead of that, let's reload it again because I Heart New York just broke. And I don't know why that happened. Whatever. Download the update. Here we have the compressor. So let's just get started with it. We're gonna try and make this thing and use the same concepts. And from this part of the video, I hope you learn something because this is the most fun part. So New York compression is always going to be hard as shit. So that means we're gonna do a ratio of 20:1. We really want to get like some extra emphasis. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. I'm just gonna copy the attack and release times that they had because it sounds pretty good. The maximum release is 1,000. The maximum is 150. Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to set it the same. So we've attack here and release was set to 80. Okay. Because I want to get it sounding relatively similar out of the box. I'm going to have a hard knee. So right now I have a soft knee and I want a hard knee. And I'm going to put the attack time to 0 milliseconds because when you listen to the track with the IHNY-2, the transients kind of get slapped forward but backwards at the same time. So what I think they have is they also have a compressor at the, I mean, a limiter at the end of the track. So I think there's a couple of more things going on, and I think we need to go to linear mode. Hold on. So this thing toggles the compressor's release between linear and logarithmic. In log mode, sharply compressed peaks will have a faster release time than less compressed material. This can result in smoother and less noticeable compression than in linear mode. So we need linear mode because it needs to be as upfront and as nuts as you possibly can go. All right, let's just group this already. And we're going to make a button already. Let's just map this to button number 1. This is going to be the dry and wet. So basically dry and wet. This is being wet. This is being dry of the compression amount. All right. So we're just going to call this remake. So let's have a little setup of this. Already set the threshold. That actually sounds pretty spot on in one go. Let's just set this as well. Make sure that there's no shape to it. It's a bit more compression going on. But there's also a limiter at the end. So I'm just gonna already do the limiter at the end because it's just the sound. And it's just super recognizable. When you hear it, you're like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But let's just get a limiter at the end of this already, and we're going to put in all the other little tweak parameters too that we can. So I'm going to make the look at time 1.5 because, again, I want it to be as dirty as possible. We're going to set this over to macro knob number 2. We're going to call this softer. Okay? So we're going to make it softer. See, so now the transients kind of disappear. Somewhere in between is where we kind of need to. And I need a little bit of gain utility. So I'm going to just put a little bit of gain at the back. Let's just call this the, let's do that. No, let's do that like this. And we'll make this go like this. We're going to call this output gain. As you can see, the BabyAudio is already winning a lot more because it has a auto gain function in itself. And here you kind of have to do it manually, which is already a total tit. Okay, so I'm just messing around a little bit to get it nicer. Now let's add in the extra little effects as well. So for me, the biggest one that's going to make a difference is going to be this EQ and also the harmonics. So the harmonics we can set up with a saturator. Let's do that one first. I think the saturator before the compressor, but because Ableton is doesn't have an auto makeup gain, which it would be so nice if we would just have that as a little device. If anybody from Ableton is watching this, please, for the love of God, just make an auto gain device. It's going to be really great. But right now we have to make it ourselves because if I drive this, you basically add 28 dB of extra sound, which will clip the shit out of everything. So we have an output button, but I don't want to personally use two buttons. Go 1, 2, 1. It's just super annoying. So let's just set this up so that when I put the drive up, that the output goes down a similar amount. Now, it's not the perfect way of making a, you know, auto gain thing, but at least it's something. So we have the saturator here, and this is the drive amount. So we can do 36. We're going to go to 0 dB, so back to 0. And then we need to put the output device on drive as well. And the output device is going to go from 36, from 0 to, oh, where did it go? Output 0 to -36. There we go. I think this is it. Yeah, so now if I drive this, the volume goes down. See? And the other way around. So now we have like an automated gain knob. So let's just call this, how do they call this? Harmonics. Harmonics. There we go. Perfect. Now, remember, this is the remake of the concept of New York compression. So this should be going parallel. We'll make a little knob at the end as well. We'll have a dry, wet knob, okay? But for now, let's just keep going. So with the harmonics, and then what I want is this one, the EQ. That's going to make everything sound fat and nice. So we're going to put that, I know this is crazy, after the limiter, I think. Otherwise, we might put more into the limiter. Let's just put it before the limiter. Otherwise, we might have like clipping going on. Okay, we'll put in 3 nodes. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Let's put number 5 at around 50 hertz. Let's put number 3 over at 8K. And let's put number 2 here over at 500. Okay, and then this needs to go down. This needs to go up. And this needs to go up. Let's make it nice and wide. And then we have the same type of smiley face EQ. So let's just set those up so that it goes to the desired level. So we're going to set this up to macro, the number 5. And so this one's the number 5. This one's going to go to number 5. I kind of need to probably do everything at the same time. And this one is going to go to number 5. And now we're just going to map number 5 so that it makes sense. Where is number 5? These are all the EQ gains. Number 2 was the middle gain. So number 2, we're going to go from 0 dB down to -4 dB. Number 3 was that one. So we're going to go from 0 dB to plus 3 dB. This one, 0 dB to plus 3 dB. And now we have a 1 knob smiley face EQ. So here, we move this knob now, it smiles. I'm just going to set this up a little bit nicer so that the top end is number 5. I'm going to set that to 2 dB and this one to 3.5 dB. And this one, yeah, we're going to maybe go -4.5 just to get a little bit more extreme. Shit, I did that the wrong way around. Doesn't matter. Hold on. I want to get this nice. There we go. And then this to 3.5. Okay, cool. Done. Perfect. Okay, so then we have that button done. And then we have these tilt shift EQs. Now, that's the only thing we can't do in Ableton because it's basically doing an internal sidechain. And we can only do either this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. It's a button. It's not a function. So that's kind of annoying. So it's definitely iHeart New York's gonna be more versatile, and also this has an internal sidechain from both sides. We can't really do that with this either. So I'm just gonna skip that entire part. We still have the attack and release that we can put in as well. So let's set up the attack and release setting. I'm just gonna rename number 5 to smile. Smiley face. And then this is going to be attack. And this is going to be release. And then the attack and release times that they have maximum is 1 millisecond to 150. We have more of this one. Attack is going to be from the attack, compressor, attack, 1 millisecond, probably 0.1 to 150 milliseconds. Okay. And the release is 1,000 to 5. 1,000 to 5. All right. That's going to go to release. 1,000 to 5. So this is going to be 5, and this is going to be 1,000. Okay. Now we have that set up. We can get rid of. No, we can't get rid of this. Okay, cool. Now that we've have this set up, we need to make a dry wet. See how much faffing around it is just to get like something to be relatively similar. All right, so now the only thing we need on top of it is just kind of like a dry wet type of situation that we here have on this XY type of pad. We could potentially put in a XY pad that is in Ableton, but I'm pretty sure this is not going to work on most computers. So that's why I kind of opted to just do it with knobs instead. But we could just put in a dry chain, dry. Make sure that this sounds as rough as you possibly can. So you, with New York compression, you go as nasty as possible, like just nasty, nasty sounding. And then you either put in the dry signal until it sounds nice again, or you put in the wet signal, either or. So let's just go dry and then add wet. And that's the only way I can think of remaking it at this moment in time. I'm sure somebody's going to go like, hey, but you forgot to do this, and you can also do this, and there's a magical plugin over there that does auto makeup gain, yada yada. Great. But I hope that doing this makes you go like, oh shit, I got this one compressor that sounds super fat. And I got this one harmonics thing that sounds super fat, and this one limiter that sounds really nice. And I think I can make it. You do that, if you understand that, that you don't have to do this in Ableton and you can use your third-party plugins, you can create some really nice thick sounds. Anyway, so to do that, that'll be nice. And then definitely, definitely recommend iHeart New York. It's just easy, one button, nice, no stress. Personally, I would just put it on a send though, so that the overall harmonics, not just of one channel, would have the complete nastiness going on. And then EQ after whatever you need. And then after that, image a little bit, because then you can make for instance, the sides of your channel thicker. If you have a very mono track, you can make that nice and thick if you like. So, all right. So last but not least, I actually added that width button in. So Ozone Imager 2 is in here, but that's completely free. Personally, I think that sounds dope. So if you just have this. It's nice to have a little bit of imaging in so that you have your dry signal, which is gonna be mostly mono, for instance, and then you're gonna have your wet signal with your parallel signal, which is going to be mostly, or it's gonna be a little bit wider, or vice versa. Then at least you can make your entire, sound thicker overall, so that basically you get depth. Alright, or separation between your hardcore compression and your dry signal, and then there's the another button as well. 'Cause I kinda wanted it nasty. Now, if you are gonna be using this, I suggest that you first just listen to your, completely wet signal, get it as nasty as you like. Leave this in the middle for a second and put it in, and then put your output gain so it has around the same output as it did when you started compressing. Hit it at around 0 dB. So 0 dB goes in here. The peaks of it, then you're going to be good to go. This thing will just work out of the box in one go. Okay, the next thing is then I would go over here. And then here, I wouldn't touch this dry wet knob. I would make it softer if it sounds too hard to you. So there's too much cut coming through. After you can add in the harmonics to your liking. The smiley face is just going to be to your liking as well. And then you can mess with the attack and release times. If you want more of the transients to come through, make the attack slower. All right, so just have a listen for that. And if you want less of the attack, to make it faster, this one will also, if you want less attack, you can use that one. And release wise, um, just make sure it pumps really fucking hard. So around this, 30 to 50, this is going to be good for you to do. And then another, just put that in as much as you like. And then after you've set up the completely wet, disgusting signal, then start thinking, um, you know, do I need to tilt shift this? Yes or no? So do I need to make it a little bit darker, which is going to be to the left, or do you need to make it brighter, which is going to be to the right? Just have a feel, see how you feel about it. And then after all of that, put in the dry signal until you feel that the track sounds good. And do this all, like, put the dry signal in back in it when the mix is actually playing back, and you should be good to go. All right, much love. Take care. Peace out. Again, it will be over on Patreon for you to download, and for everybody else, thanks. Please comment, ask for another plugin review because it's kind of fun, and this way we also learn lots of fun mixing concepts.